Hey guys, Darren Alff here from Bicycle Touring Pro. Just wanted to do a quick Q&A session for my current location in Svolvær, Norway. I probably butchered the name of that town, just so you know. But yeah, so I'm gonna just hang out here for a moment. I'm just doing this like totally last minute. I have nothing planned. I just kind of thought I would tell you a little bit about where I am right now, the trip that I've been on here in Norway, which has been spectacular. And then I would answer any questions that you guys have about bike touring, world travel, whatever you want, lifestyle design, maybe something like that. So yeah, so for the last 10 days or so, I've been participating in a self-guided bike tour with a local Norwegian tour company called Active Norway. They actually have a much longer name. It's like Norske BicycleTouring or something like that. But for their English, people like me who can't pronounce BicycleTouring or whatever, it's active-norway.com. That'll take you to their website, and they have like a ton of self-guided bike tours here in Norway. A lot of people have been asking, like, why am I doing a self-guided bike tour in Norway? Why aren't I just doing it on my own? And I could do it on my own, and there's a lot of people up here actually who are doing trips where they're just camping out, and you can do that for quite cheap, even here in Norway, which is like the most expensive country in the whole world. One of the downsides, I guess, to bike touring in Norway is the fact that it is so expensive. I mean, it's hard to find anything at the store that costs less than $2 US. And that's like a stick of gum is like $2. So, and then it goes up from there. But one of the great things about a self-guided trip versus doing a trip on your own is that the company, in this case, Active Norway, has arranged they have special arrangement with all the hotels that you stay at along your route. So one, I'm in Arctic Norway and it is pretty cold, and not everybody wants to sleep in a tent at night. And so if you want to come to Norway and you want to have that bike touring experience, but you don't want to sleep in a tent, you need to sleep in one of the local hotels. And Norway is not like, it's hard to explain, but there's a lot of just like little towns. I mean, even the town I'm in right now, which is the largest town in all of the Lofoten Islands, is very small. And so a lot of, like here in Lofoten, a lot of the hotels will get booked up months in advance. And so if you try to just show up one day and say, hey, do you have a room? It's very likely that they won't. So using a company like Active Norway, they are able to arrange all of your hotel details for you. All of your meals are taken care of. For the most part, all of the meals are taken care of. And if you've been following me on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen that the meals we've been eating have been like spectacular. And yeah, and then they give you all the route information, tell you where the bike shops are in case something goes wrong with your bike. They'll even provide you with a bicycle to use for the trip. So you can just fly from wherever you're from in the world, America, Canada, Australia, the UK, South Africa, whatever, just fly to Norway with a backpack or something, your clothes and toiletries, and then they'll have a bike waiting for you, and the whole trip is planned and all your hotels are arranged. And so that's the kind of trip that I'm on right now. For the last 10 days, I was traveling with my friend Sophie, who many of you may have seen in my photos and videos that I've been posting. And yeah, she was a really good travel partner overall. This was like her first time doing a really long bike tour, and she did really, really well. One of the things that was so great, actually, I think, about this Arctic coast cycling tour that I just completed is the fact that it was flat. Like, Norway is a very mountainous sort of place, but this specific bike tour, they've figured it out so that you travel almost completely on flat roads. There were a few small hills, but really they weren't very big at all, like, and nothing to sweat about. There were a couple tunnels as well. I think 3 or 4 major tunnels that you had to go through, one of which was over 2 kilometers in length. But again, I know that there's a lot of false information on the internet saying that you can't ride your bike through the tunnels in Norway, and that is completely wrong. There are some tunnels in Norway that you can't ride your bike through, but most of the tunnels, I think, you can ride your bike through. And the tunnels up here in northern Norway are really well suited for cyclists. They're lit, first of all, so you can actually see where you're going inside the tunnel. There's not a lot of cars on the road up here, so oftentimes you can drive through the entire tunnel without seeing a car. And in addition to that, there are these, like on each end of the tunnel, there are these buttons that you press before you go into the tunnel. And when you press the button, then there are these flashing lights that flash outside the tunnel, letting drivers know that there is a cyclist inside the tunnel at that particular moment. So tunnels in Norway, for the most part, not all of them, are pretty darn safe, I think. So yes, there are some tunnels you can't go through. And so if you're coming to Norway on your own, you need to do some research as to which tunnels you can and cannot go through. But like I said, I'm on a tour with ActiveNorway.com right now, and they have arranged the route. They know the route really well, and so they've sent us down particular roads where we don't have to worry about the tunnels being closed to cyclists. Anyways, that's all I really had to say about that. Let me show you guys where I am really quick. I'm in the Thon Hotel in Svolvær. I gotta unplug my computer. My screen is really, I don't know. There's my room. There's the map of the route that I'm going to be cycling over the next 10 days or so. Those are the Lofoten Islands behind me. And then out here, check this out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. There's a giant cruise ship like right outside my window, and a ton of islands, and oh gosh, the internet here is really crappy, so it's pixelating me a whole bunch. I'm sorry about that. But anyways, just look out there. That's cool. Norway is so awesome. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go over and to the comment section on YouTube now to see what you guys are saying, if anything. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. All right. To the comment section. Let's see. Your camera is hazy, Darren. Yeah, I know. I don't know why it's doing that, to be honest. I think it's just the poor internet connection here. Hey there, from California. I've noticed you primarily stick to European countries. Any plans for Asia? I was actually in Asia last year, or at the end of 2014, right at the beginning of 2015. And yeah, I'd love to go back. The reason I've mainly stuck to Asia is because at the moment I'm trying to ride my bike across every country in Europe, and I only have 3 countries left, and so I'm trying to kind of get to them. The only countries in Europe that I haven't been to are Russia, Belarus, and Cyprus. Every other country in Europe I've ridden my bike across. There's a couple actual small islands and stuff that I haven't been to, and I haven't been to the Vatican. But Russia, Belarus, and Cyprus are the major countries I haven't been to. Anyways, let me go back to your questions here. I have too many screens open. Hi, Darren. Will you upload any footage from your Spain tour? Yes. I have actually been shooting video every single day for the last, what is it now, 2.5 months during my bike tours across Portugal, Spain, France, Andorra, and Norway. I have posted the first 2 weeks of my trip in Portugal, but I haven't posted really anything since then. And it's not because I haven't been shooting, but it's because I haven't had the time to sit down and edit and upload those videos. It just takes a huge amount of time. You need 3 things in order to upload a video to YouTube. You need time, internet access, and electricity. And when I'm bike touring each day and camping in my tent sometimes, those 3 things are not easy to find. So as soon as I get some time, internet, and electricity, I will upload more videos. You can expect probably like 60 to 90 videos over the coming months. So make sure you're subscribed to the Bicycle Touring Pro YouTube channel, because those videos will be coming your way soon. And I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you, because I have been shooting so much, and I've been carrying this drone on my bicycle, so I got a ton of drone footage of me riding my bike in various countries all across Europe. And yeah, so can't wait to share it with you. Renko says, hello man, do you see any Eastern European, maybe even Balkan tour coming sometime? Greetings from Serbia. Well, yeah, Eastern Europe is actually like my favorite part of Europe, and I would love to go back. I have, like I said, I've been to every country in the Balkans. I've been to every country in Europe except for Russia, Belarus, and Spain. So I want to go to Russia and maybe Belarus next year, and maybe Cyprus as well. I'll just get them all out of the way. But going back to the Balkans anytime soon, probably not. I would love to go back to Romania. I've been there 3 times. I think it's like one of the best places in the whole world for bike touring, and I don't understand why more people don't go there. I think it's the best, most scenic, most friendly location in all of Europe, and you get the best value for your dollar. Like hotels are $25. You can eat out at restaurants for $5 to $8. It's fantastic. So yeah, internet's fast and friendly people. Question, can you talk more about wild camping in Norway? Is it easy to set up a tent in the fjord region? And how about drinking water? That's a good question. Wild camping in Norway is super easy. There's tons of wild areas and not a lot of people. And so you can camp wild in Norway just about anywhere. I think you have to be about 150 meters or something from the road or from any sort of like private property. If you can do that, you just go off into the woods or near a lake or on the shore of the beach. It doesn't matter. Like you can camp for free in Norway, and I think it's the same in Finland and Sweden and yeah. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that I really like Norway. And I'll be doing some camping. I think tomorrow night I'm camping, and the night after that I'm camping, and then I'll be doing some more camping in Norway and Sweden in the next 2 weeks or so. So I'll show you more of the wild camping at that time. Let me go back to your question here. Oops, let me see. Yeah, and what about drinking water? Well, I don't have like a water filter, and I've never carried a water filter on any of my bike tours all around the world. If I have to, I buy water. I have not bought any water in Norway, though there are usually places to fill up your water bottles, or I just drink it straight out of the tap. And as far as I know, the tap water is perfectly fine in Norway. So yeah. Hi from Maryland. How do you pick where you will spend time on your trips? I'm planning 3 weeks in New Zealand for this winter, and I'm having trouble deciding where to spend more time or pass through. Well, the answer to that comes, first of all, with a little research, I guess. If you pick New Zealand, maybe there's a specific part of New Zealand that attracted you the most, and I would start there. There's an article on my website, bicycletouringpro.com. If you go there and you type in like map mapping your route or something like that, maybe, or planning your route, I have an article that actually like details how you can plan your entire route using points of interest and your specific timeline. So it sounds like you already have a timeline, 3 weeks. Now you just need to plot out the areas in New Zealand that you are most interested in seeing and then connect the dots. So in that article, I explain exactly how to do it. I think there's a video as well where I show you step by step how I do that. So it's on the website. So check that out. I think it's, I don't know, just go to bicycletouringpro.com. There's a little search button, click in route planning or how to plan a route or something like that. I can't remember the name of the article. Yeah, but one of the, going back to that question, one of the main things that I always tell people when it comes to bike touring is like, you should go to a part of the world that you're most interested in, and because that's going to make the experience best for you. Like, I could tell you that Romania is the best place I've ever been or whatever, but for you, maybe New Zealand is the best choice because you have an interest in New Zealand. So go to New Zealand. Don't listen to me about Romania. Some people might listen to me and say, oh, I'll give Romania a try. But in all honesty, I think you should go to New Zealand if that's the place that is calling your name. In the same breath, go to the parts of New Zealand that are most interesting to you. Don't necessarily go to the parts of New Zealand that everybody else goes to. I have found usually that the areas that are marketed the most are usually not as good as some of the areas I've just discovered on my own. For example, I spent 5 months in Peru, went to Machu Picchu, which was fine, but there was like 1,000 people there, and it felt like Disneyland. Outside of Machu Picchu, however, there are tons of other Incan ruins that you can go to that are just as impressive in my mind as Machu Picchu, but there's no one there. Like, you are the only person there, just you and the llamas up on the hill, and I think that's way, way better. So I would do a little research about what there is to see or do in New Zealand, and then, mark those things out on a map, but also research some things that are interesting to you, whatever they may be. Maybe you have a specific hobby. Maybe you're into, like I like to play table tennis. So when I plan a trip, I try to find table tennis clubs along my route so that I have something to do or look forward to besides riding my bike each and every day. So that's just a tip. Anyways, hope that answers your question a little bit. Somebody says, I guess when you're on the islands, there's nowhere to pee. Well, some islands have bathrooms, but yeah, you can just pee in the woods. I'm from Belarus. Hey, cool. I want to come and visit you soon. That's really cool. Yeah, I really want to go to Belarus. In the summertime, though. In the summertime, maybe next summer. Hi from the Philippines. Would you ever come here? Yeah, I want to come to the Philippines as well. Drone footage so far has been fantastic. Cool, thanks. What are the good tropical countries to do a bike tour? I'm not made for the cold. Tropical, what do you mean by tropical? Are you saying, I'm not sure what you mean by tropical. Are you talking in Asia or in North America or in South America or Africa? Let me know what you mean by tropical. What? I got to meet Marilyn Manson on Saturday, and now a live stream from Darren. My life is complete. Wow, that's, how did you meet Marilyn Manson? How is your health now? Is everything all right? Take care. Yeah, that's a good question, and worthy of a pause, I guess. Some of you know, and maybe some of you don't, but last year, like right around Christmas time, I found out that I had cancer, and yeah, it came as a shock. I had just come home from a 2-year-long trip across Europe and Asia, where I had biked through, I think, like 14 or 18 different countries. And I was back in California visiting my parents, and I was planning to be there for just a month when I was taking a shower and I looked down, and to make a long story short, I realized that one of my testicles was larger than the other one. And I knew, like, in an instant that pretty much I knew I had cancer. And so I went to the hospital and they did an ultrasound, and yeah, I had cancer. And then like a week later, I went in for an emergency surgery to remove that testicle, basically. And it took me like 3 months to recover from the surgery, and another 2 months just psychologically to get kind of over it. And I'm still dealing with that a little bit, to be honest. Every time I go to the bathroom or every time I take a shower, it just freaks me out. Like, I'm afraid I'm gonna look down and the other one is gonna be big or something. Now that's what I'm really concerned about, is just the cancer coming back. For the most part, however, I feel totally fine, and I've been biking for the last 2.5 months with no problem. I am watching myself a lot, trying to eat healthy, and yeah. But the reason I'm only in Europe for 3 months this year is because I got cancer. I have to get tested now every 3 months for the next couple of years to make sure that the cancer hasn't returned. So I've really only got like maybe 3 weeks left here in Europe. I'm going to bike across Norway and Sweden over those 3 weeks, and then I have to go fly straight back to America. And like 2 days after I land, I have to go to my oncologist and my urologist and get my blood tested and get a CAT scan and all these other fun things. So I'm trying to enjoy the bike trip that I'm on right now for the next 3 weeks, because I know that when my life, you know, when I go back to America, my life is going to suck for a little while. But yeah, thanks so much for asking. I am doing fine, and I hope, you know, that I'm doing fine on the inside as well. So yeah. Oh gosh, I have too many screens open. Okay. Oops. Okay, I'm reading your comments now. Hey, I missed your tour of Macedonia. Any impressions? Yeah, I was in Macedonia in 2009. Gosh, it was a long time ago now. But I really liked Macedonia. It was bloody hot. Macedonia, for those of you who don't know, is located right above Greece, kind of left of Bulgaria. Albania is on the left of Macedonia, and yeah, and that's kind of where it is in the world. And yeah, I really liked it. I actually stayed in Skopje, Macedonia, which is the capital of Macedonia. I stayed there for like 2 weeks. I rented an AirBNB apartment and really, really liked the city. Macedonia is like a real mix of the old world and the new world. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah. When cycle touring in Romania, did you have any trouble with dogs when cycling? Yeah, if you watch some of my YouTube videos in Romania, you'll see at one point I did get chased and bitten. I didn't get bitten, but my bicycle got bitten by a dog, and he ripped a small hole in one of my panniers. But that was really the only incident that I had with dogs in Romania. And I've really only had, I've been biking around the world for 16 years, and I've been barked at by like thousands and thousands and thousands of dogs, and chased probably by thousands of dogs as well. But there have only been 2 dogs that have ever bitten onto one of my panniers on my bicycle. I've never been bitten myself, but they have bitten my bike. But no, it's never been a problem. And I get a lot of people asking, you know, I don't know if it's just a fear of dogs. I know some people do have like a legitimate fear of dogs. I don't have that fear. I guess because I've dealt with so many of them. I just pretend like I don't see them, and I just keep riding. That's my strategy. I slow down a little bit to make sure I don't run them over, but for the most part, I just keep riding my bike and let them bark and run next to me, and that's pretty much the end of it. How much money do these Europe trips cost? How would you recommend saving up for them? That's a good question. Some of my past trips, I have chronicled every single cent that I spent on the trip. So if you go, again, to bicycletouringpro.com and type in, like, how much does it cost or something like that, you'll see a bunch of articles that I wrote about how much it costs to go bicycle touring in Iceland, or how much it costs to go bicycle touring in Norway. Like, I was in Norway last summer. Again, Norway is like the most expensive country in the whole world. I was in Norway last summer for 2 months. That's a long time, but especially considering, like, most people come here for a week, if that. So I was here for 2 months, and I camped a lot. I got some free places to stay, just through friends and stuff. And the total cost for me, I think, was like $1,200 or $1,600 for 2 whole months of travel in the most expensive country in the whole world. So in the grand scheme of things, that's not that much money. In those other parts of the world, like Croatia, for example, I was there for 1 month, or more than a month, and I think, or less, for the whole month. Greece, again, cost me like $900 for a month. It just depends on where you are, of course. Switzerland was much more expensive. Austria was a little expensive. Yeah, just depends where you go. I was in, where was I? Taiwan. I think that cost about $900 a month or so, maybe $1,000. Anyways, and how do you save up for bike trips? I get this question a lot, and a lot of people think that sponsorships are like the way to go or something, but honestly, I think chasing a sponsorship of any kind, especially in the bicycle touring world, don't even give it a try. Like, there's just no money. The companies don't have any money to give out. I wish that were the case, but it's just not. I think the best way to save up for a trip is get a job, or make something, do something, be entrepreneurial, and yeah, just save up the money and go. It really doesn't cost that much to go bicycle touring, and I think that's one of the great things about traveling by bike, is that you can do it for as much or as little as you really want to. So, yeah. Thanks, Darren. Have fun on the rest of your trip. Thank you. Trying to answer. I'm looking to do a tour around Scotland for 2 weeks and have a budget of about £300. I'm pretty sure I can do it on this amount with wild camping. Yeah, I would think 2 weeks you could do on that. You might have to, it might be pretty tight. And also you have to consider, I don't know where you live, but if you live in Scotland, then sure, £300 totally. But if you're coming from London, let's say, then just the train alone might cost you £100. So right away you're out £100. So you got to factor in transportation costs as well for not only getting to the start of your tour, but coming home. So remember that. But that's easy to figure out. Like, you can look up right now. Like, that's where the planning process for me always starts. Is like, I want to go to Belarus, so I go on to kayak.com or whatever and look to see how much flights are to Belarus. And right away I have a general idea of how much that trip is going to cost me. So yeah, look into that. Oh wow. Okay. Thanks for a crazy cool Arctic bike tour. Hey, that's Sophie on there. Yeah, Sophie, who you saw traveling with me for the last 10 days or so on the Arctic Coast cycling tour, is a super talented musician, and you should check out her music. She performs under the name Ocean Calling, and if you go to Facebook or Instagram or SoundCloud, that's probably the best place. Go to soundcloud.com and type in Ocean Calling, and you can hear Sophie's music, which is, I don't know how she would describe it exactly, but I would describe it as like electronic music about nature and travel. That's what I would say. So if that sounds cool to you, go to soundcloud.com and type in Ocean Calling. I think her website as well is ocean-calling.com. So yeah, check that out. And I'll be posting more photos and videos and stuff from the bike tour with Sophie very, very soon. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat and I'm posting videos on there, by the way. So yeah, some behind the scenes sort of stuff. My name on Snapchat, in case you're wondering, is Bicycle Touring Pro, I think, or maybe just Bicycle Touring. Anyways, as far as tropical places, he says, I meant, what are the warmer places you've biked? Being from a tropical country, Philippines, I prefer warmer places where I can feel my fingers. Yeah, Norway, Iceland, those sorts of places can be quite cold. So if you want to go somewhere warm, well, almost any place in the world is warm at some point. But I think one of my favorite places that I've been to is South Africa. I think it's got some of the best cycling in the whole world. Like the roads there, a lot of the country is pretty flat. There are mountains though, for those of you who love mountains. And the scenery is just so diverse. Like there's the coastline, there's deserts, there's mountains, there's vineyards. And so yeah, like if you can get there during the right weather, that is an amazing place to bike tour. It's not for beginners. Just the situation of South Africa makes it not for beginners. The terrain, however, I think anybody could tackle, but the place is probably for more advanced cyclists, or for more advanced travelers, I should say. Mexico, I think, is also a great warm weather bike touring destination, and I would love to do more bike touring there in the future. I'm hoping that later this year, even maybe like around October, December, I'm going to go to Colombia and Ecuador in South America, and those as well could be warm weather destinations depending on what time of year you go. I was planning to go to Colombia last year, right after I found out that I had cancer, and I had to cancel that whole trip. So I've still got Colombia on the brain here, and I really want to go there sometime soon. All the best, Darren. Stay strong, and thanks for inspiring me to get into bike touring. Cool. Yeah, thanks. Eduardo says, do you have any experience doing videos? I think you're doing really great videos. Any tips about that? All the best with your health. The truth is, I went to film school, and I know a lot about making movies, but what I do here on YouTube is very amateurish and very quick. I think it's difficult to film yourself bike touring, especially in a very good way, like high quality sort of way. Like I think if I were traveling with a group of actors, I could film the most amazing bike touring movie because I kind of know what the shots would be and how to tell the story. But when I'm trying to work the camera and be in the movie and also get to a destination at a particular time, I can only do so much. And so what you see here on YouTube, I think is not actually up to par with what I could do and what I know I'm capable of. But I try to do the best under the circumstances that I'm in. So I'm glad you enjoy it, and I hope to continue to improve. And yeah, like I said, I have tons of videos that I'll be posting over the coming weeks and months. So I can't believe how much footage and stuff I've shot. Like it's going to be really kind of a nightmare to go through it all, but it'll be a whole lot of fun as well. And like I said, I look forward to sharing it with you. So, hey, please do shout out to me. There's your shout out. During tours, how extensively do you track what nutrients you're getting from your food? I don't track that at all. That's my short answer. Yeah, I'm vegetarian, and I have been my entire life. I thought that that would keep me healthy, but apparently it didn't. And yeah, and I've never really talked about food a whole lot on Bicycle Touring Pro, largely because I just don't know much about it. It's not one of my passion points, and I don't feel comfortable really telling other people what to put in their bodies when I don't really know myself what would be best. So I haven't really done a whole lot of talking about that, but if you go onto Bicycle Touring Pro's homepage, bicycletouringpro.com, you'll see a book there called Bike Camp Cook. I did not write this book. Somebody else wrote the book, but it's a really good book for those of you who are interested in food and cooking on the road and how to get the nutrients that you need, et cetera, et cetera. So check that out. Go to bicycletouringpro.com. You can click on the resources tab, or just kind of scroll down and you'll see it. It's on the homepage there. It's called Bike Camp Cook. More drone footage. It looks cool. Today I climbed up to the top of this mountain here in Svolvær, Norway, where I am, and I took some amazing drone footage. I haven't posted it, but I'll post it on Facebook tonight. So yeah, go to facebook.com/bicycle touring, and you'll see the drone footage from Norway today. If you come to Norway, I'll bike with you. Okay, you better be careful, because I might just take you up on that offer. I'm like one of these, like I have friends that say, like, oh, I want to go on a bike ride with you. And then when I ask them on a bike ride, they're like, oh, I can't do it today. I have to watch TV or something. And then I have other friends that are like, hey, Darren, you want to bike across Taiwan for a month? And then I'm like, yeah, okay. And then we meet in Taiwan and we do the bike trip. And it's like, I don't know. Some people can't get off the couch, and other people are able to travel around the world and meet you there at a specific time and date with no problem. I am the latter type of person. Like, if you say, want to go bike touring in Mexico with me? If I say yes, like, I will actually show up. So anyways, I don't know. That's one of my little tangents. I just hate it when people say that they'll do something and then they don't. Or they come up with lame excuses for why they couldn't do it or couldn't even try. South Africa and Mexico, here I come. Thank you, Darren. I'll take your advice and go there one day. What about bicycle touring in Australia? I've not been to Australia. I should. I'm going to be honest, though, and tell you something. Australia, for me, just, I don't know why, but it's just not appealing at this particular moment in my life. I know a lot of people like really love Australia and want to go back and see more of it, and or people that have never been want to go and experience it. I think if I went to Australia, I'd want to go more for the animals than anything else, just to see the animals that are there that are not in any other part of the world. But other than that, I don't know. I think part of the reason I don't want to go to Australia is because they speak English, and for me, it's just too easy. I kind of enjoy going to these countries where people speak a different language and I have to use sign language to get by. I find that kind of fun. I think it makes the trip more adventurous, and I think a trip in Australia for me might just be a little too easy because of the language thing, in part. Obviously, there are parts of Australia that are incredibly hard. If you cycle across the interior of the country or something, the biking part is going to be incredibly ridiculous. But yeah, I have so many friends and stuff in Australia. I'll get there at some point. It's just not up at the top of my list. Like, there are other places in the world that I would like to go first. So, do you remember any prices for random activities in Norway? I remember you walked up a glacier, maybe some other fun activity there. Yeah, there are tons of cool things like that to do in Norway. Last time I was here, I hiked up a glacier. There are helicopter tours, which would be amazing. There are tons of like bus, walking, hiking, kayaking, stand-up paddling, boating, whaling, you know, where you go out and look for whales. Just a couple days ago, I did a body surfing sort of thing where I got dressed in a survival suit and they dumped us in the ocean basically, and we like drifted with the currents. It was really fun. It sounds terrible, but it was really fun. Like, we were in freezing cold water in a survival suit, and just floating down through these islands and stuff. It was, again, I have video of it, but I haven't posted it all yet. What else? Yeah, how much does all that cost? Oh, it's not cheap, let me tell you. Most activities, like a day tour activity, or even something that's maybe just a couple hours, like even 1 hour, I think it generally starts around $100. So like the body rafting thing, $100. The glacier tour, about $100. And it goes up from there. Like if you're doing a helicopter tour or something, I don't know how much that costs, but it's probably a lot. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Okay. Do you have any plans to slow down from touring to possibly open a bike touring company or a bike touring guide type service? Love your videos and blogs. No, I don't have plans to do anything like that. I mean, I easily could, and I've thought about doing maybe a guided tour at some point in the future. I don't know if there's enough interest in that. I live in the state of Utah normally when I'm not traveling, although I haven't been home in 3 years. But I live in the state of Utah in like one of the most amazing biking parts of the entire country, I think. And I would love to do a week-long bike tour in my backyard and show you the lakes and the mountains and the forests of Utah. Does that sound interesting to you guys? I don't know. Come to Utah, hang out for a week, ride bikes, eat food, maybe camp under the stars. Does that sound like something you'd want to do? I don't. If it is, let me know, and maybe I'll consider doing it like next summer or something. I think it would be fun. I just don't want to do it and have like 2 people show up. I'd like to have a group of 10 or 12 or something. I think that would be a lot of fun. Pedro says, did you enjoy Portugal? Yeah, I really enjoyed Portugal. I think of the countries that I went to, you know, Portugal, Spain, and France, I enjoyed Portugal probably the most. I liked it because the country was largely empty, especially when you compare it to Spain. There was much more traffic and people in Spain, which I didn't really like as much. Whereas Portugal, I found quite relaxing. The scenery was fantastic. The beaches in Portugal are just breathtaking. So yeah, I really enjoyed Portugal. However, I think Norway is better. Norway is got to be like top 3 countries in the whole world for bike touring. Like, this place is made for bike touring. Like, it's a bicycle touring dreamland. The roads are just perfect for bike touring, and the scenery is so spectacular. There's free places to camp. Everything is signed so well. The people speak English, although, you know, Norwegian is the first language, but almost everybody speaks English, so it's pretty easy to get by. The only thing about Norway that I can think of as a downside is the fact that it's expensive. But like I said before, it can be done very cheaply, and if you ever have a chance to come here, like, I would totally recommend it. If you want to camp and do that sort of a trip, then read my book, The Bicycle Touring Blueprint. You can pick it up at www.bicycletouringbook.com. That book will teach you everything you need to know about how to pack, plan, and prepare for your own camping sort of bike tour. If, however, you want to stay in hotels and have a much more luxurious experience in Norway, check out Active Norway's website. It's active-norway.com, and they have a bunch of self-guided bicycle tours all across Norway, not only up here in northern Norway, where I am now, but down in southern Norway near Bergen and that area. So yeah, and like I said before, if you want to learn, I've posted 2 months worth of material about Norway already on bicycletouringpro.com. So if you go to bicycletouringpro.com right now, type in Norway in the search bar, and you'll find like all the articles I wrote about Norway, how much it costs, where to go, photos and videos from my 2 months of bike touring here. All of that's on the website. Lowgrass White says, what's your opinion of the EuroVelo cycling network? Is it safe to assume that a EuroVelo route is always good quality, scenic or otherwise, superior to other bike paths? P.S. I love your channel. The EuroVelo routes are generally great, and I would highly recommend them. I believe, for those of you who don't know, EuroVelo is a network of bike routes all across Europe. And I usually recommend it as the starting place for anybody planning a bike tour in Europe. There's basically a route across every country in Europe included on this map. So the website, I believe, is eurovelo.org, I think. Go there, check out their route map, and start planning your next bicycle touring adventure. That being said, not all of the routes are of the same quality. Excuse me. Some of the routes are like legitimate bike paths where it's just you and your bike on the dedicated bike path. Other times you're cycling in like non-trafficked roads. Sometimes you're in trafficked roads, and yeah, so it varies a little bit, but it's all bicycle friendly. The routes are well marked for the most part, and usually if you stick to one of those EuroVelo routes, you will find other people traveling the same route on their bicycle. So even if you are traveling alone, it's easy to kind of connect up with other people traveling by bike. I can only talk for another 10 minutes or so, guys, and then I have to go. So if you have a question, now's your chance. Do you find some countries easier to stealth or wild camp than others? I'm nervous about camping outside of a campground here in the U.S. Any wild camping tips to share? Yes. Yeah, depending on where you are in the world, wild camping can be a dream come true. Like here in Norway and Sweden, I think some of the best wild camping in the whole world. Or it can be a freaking nightmare and scary as hell. And I've had some scary as hell sort of nights in my years. I've probably spent like 5 years of my life sleeping in a tent out in the wild. So I consider myself to be an expert at it, I think. Yeah, I think my biggest tip about wild camping is the goal of stealth camping or wild camping, in my mind, is to never be caught in your campsite, or to never be seen in your campsite. And whether it's legal or illegal, you should maybe just do it where it's legal. I think that for me, like even here in Norway, where it's totally legal to just camp anywhere you want, I still try to camp in a place where no other people will see me. Just because I don't want to be bugged, essentially, or to have somebody call the cops on me, even though I'm not doing anything wrong. So that's my strategy here in Norway and Sweden, where it's perfectly legal, and that's my strategy for wild camping in other countries where it, you know, wild camping is not necessarily promoted. So yeah, I don't know, that's my big tip, I guess, is like just never get, you know, camp in a place where you will never be seen. My other tip is do it, and do it until you're comfortable. Because I used to be super uncomfortable camping anywhere, really. Any little noise outside, I was freaking out. I thought somebody was coming near my camp when it was really just a bird or something like that. And yeah, so I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. Also, maybe I have one other thing to say about wild camping. I think it's easier if you're alone, actually, because you can be quieter. If you have 2 or 3 people, you're making a lot of noise and drawing a lot of attention to yourself. So even though it might be scary to be completely on your own, sometimes it's actually better because you're more stealthy. Okay, that's all I got to say. Nice that you like Macedonia. Me and my girlfriend will be doing our first tour, and it's a self-organized Netherlands tour. Any tips? For the Netherlands? No. The Netherlands is flat. There's tons of bike paths, like everywhere you go. I guess I've been to the Netherlands before, and I don't know what I have to say, really. Just have fun, I guess. Enjoy the fact that there are so many bike paths, because it's pretty unique for a country to have that many bike paths, and enjoy it while you can. What other immediate touring plans do you have after Colombia and Ecuador? Well, like I said, I don't really have anything planned legitimately or in stone, I guess, at the moment. I have to return back to the United States and get tested for my cancer prognosis and diagnosis. And yeah, and so I'm kind of not planning anything until they say you're good. Yeah. But if they say I'm good, then I'm thinking of going to either Cyprus this winter and spending like 3 months there, or going to Colombia and Ecuador and spending 3 or 4 months in those 2 countries. After that, I will have to return to America once again for another round of tests. And then next spring, I've already booked the ticket for that one. I'm flying back to Sweden, and I'm planning to ride my bike up to Nordkapp, which is the northernmost point in all of Norway. So back to Norway. Can you tell I like this place? And then I'm going to cross over into Finland and hopefully into Russia, and then cycle from like northern Russia all the way down to St. Petersburg, and maybe then into Belarus. That's kind of what I want to do. But like I said, it's not planned at all at this point. I bought the ticket back to Sweden, but that's it. Hey, we're going to Utah. Utah sounds great. Yeah, I want to do more bike tours in Utah to show you guys where I live, because it's such an amazing place and there's so much good cycling there. Just in my town where I live in Park City, Utah, and there's like 300 miles of bike paths. That's just in my town. That doesn't even include outside of town. So, Tim Cook, you have a good question here. Tim says, do you lock your bike up when you go into stores in Norway, and do you take your pannier bags inside with you? The answer to that question is no. I didn't even bring a lock on this bike tour. So for the last 2.5 months, while I was cycling across Portugal, Spain, France, Andorra, and now Norway, I've had no bike lock. And my bike, with everything on it, the drone, my computer, my cameras, the bike itself, probably costs $15,000 plus. So I've been traveling around on a $15,000 bike with no bike lock. And I still have my bike and all my stuff. So no problem at all. Norway is super safe. I'm staying in a hotel right now. The bike is just downstairs in the garage, completely unlocked. I'm not worried about anybody taking it. That's one of another, I think, great thing about Norway is just you don't have to worry about personal safety like you would in so many other countries. Like I mentioned South Africa, even Mexico, some of these other places that I have mentioned. You got to watch yourself a little bit, you know, or sometimes you got to watch yourself a lot. And Norway is not like that. So, yeah. I went on a hike today in Norway. I rode my bike to the trailhead, and I just left my bike at the trailhead, completely unlocked. Hiked up the mountain for about 2 hours, then came down, and there was my bike, no problem. So, yeah. Hey, amazing channel. Next month, I'm making a tour in Bergen, Lofoten, Nordkapp, Stockholm. Do you have any recommendations regarding tools and gadgets which are useful, especially in Norway? Thanks. That's awesome. That's going to be an amazing trip. Tools and gadgets, bring your smartphone. Make sure you have a way to keep it charged. Use an offline mapping application like Maps for Me. That's what I use. And yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. Have fun. Take lots of pictures and send me a picture or two when you're on the road, because I like to share, you know, your guys' bike touring photos with the rest of the Bicycle Touring Pro community to show that, you know, I'm not the only person in the world doing these bike tours, that there are lots of people of all ages from all over the world doing bike tours. So if you go on a bike tour this year or at some point in the future, make sure to email me or Facebook me or whatever with that photo of you and your bike out there on the road. Tim says, do Norwegian hotels let you take your bike inside the room with you? I have not, no, I haven't found that. Usually they have a place to put the bicycle that's safe generally. Like right now it's in the garage. Sometimes they have a special bicycle storage place thing, whatever. Do you ever think about biking around the world at once? What do you think about it? Yeah, I've thought about it, obviously, I guess. I've just never done it that way. My route, I think a lot of people, how do I explain this? I'm not so interested in doing that just because I know that the distances that I've already covered on a bicycle, I would have circled the world multiple times over. I just didn't travel in a straight line around the world as fast as I could. Instead, I went to the places that I was most interested in visiting and just went in like this sort of pattern instead of just going straight across. So in reality, I think I've, you know, biked around the world multiple times. I just haven't done it in a straight line. I think that's like one of those things that people want to do just because it'll impress other people. And I guess I'm personally not so, I don't care so much about like saying I biked around the world. You know, a lot of people say like, how many countries have you been to on your bike? And I say, oh, I don't know, 50 or 60 or 70 or something. Because I lost track at some point and I realized I don't care. It doesn't matter if 50 or 60 is still kind of a lot. So in the same way that people say, how many miles or how many kilometers have you biked? And again, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. Some people do care about those things. And if you do care, I'm not trying to criticize you. I'm just saying that I think some people care and some people don't, and I'm one of the people that don't. So, yeah, Art FX9 says, I usually just take my handlebar bag into shops because it has all my camera stuff and cash and it's small to carry. I do the exact same thing, actually. So yeah, I leave my bike outside with the 4 panniers on the bike, and then I bring my handlebar bag inside. My handlebar bag usually has my passport, my wallet, my camera, and those are the most important things to me. How much you cycle daily at the moment? I don't know. Distances vary between, I think, like 40 and 100 kilometers per day. That's kind of what I've been doing for the last 2.5 months. Hey, just missed what offline app you said. It's called Maps for Me, I think. Yeah, Maps Me. Someone else just posted it there. Maps Me. That's the one I use. How do you do when you're in the middle? What do you do when you're in the middle of nowhere and need water and/or food? Well, the trick to that is to never be in the middle of nowhere and not have water or food. I talk about this in great length inside my book, The Bicycle Touring Blueprint, and it's all about planning. Every time you reach a town, and you basically have to think ahead and think, where is the next watering hole? Where is the next place I can get food? And then you stock up on enough food and water to get you to that next place. And then you do that over and over and over again. That's how you bike tour. And it's kind of a constant thing that you're having to do as you travel. So the trick is to never get into a place or to never get into a situation where you're out of water and out of food. If you've done that, you've done something wrong. So the trick is to not do something wrong and never be in that situation. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I gotta go. It's 8:30 at night and I still got a bunch to do before I go to bed. Tomorrow I am cycling across the Lofoten Islands here in northern Norway, up above the Arctic Circle. Sophie has left and she's traveling back to the UK, so you won't see her with me anymore. I'm going to be traveling on my own, but I do know that there is another group of cyclists here, I think staying in this hotel. There's like, I think 8 or 12 of them from Norway and Germany, so I'm hoping that I can kind of hook up with their group tomorrow morning maybe, and we'll hopefully ride together, and I can get some pictures and videos and stuff of them. I think they're all older than I am, so those of you that are, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, I'll try to get some pictures of these guys because yeah, they're out here doing it, and you could be out here doing it too. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in, and if make sure you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, and YouTube. Check out bicycletouringpro.com. If you want to learn how to plan your own bike tour, whether it be in Norway, in the country where you're from, or anywhere in the world, check out my book, The Bicycle Touring Blueprint. And yeah, I hope to see you guys out on the road sometime soon. That's pretty much it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Adios. Bye. Okay, I'm gonna look really quick, actually, outside, see if the boat's still here. Oh, the boat is leaving right now. There it goes. So this is the Hurtigruten cruise ship that goes like all through the islands. This is one of many ships, actually, that goes all through the Lofoten Islands up here in northern Norway. And the ship is really nice. And the views, I'm sure that they drive these ships like through the fjords, and awesome. That Sophie, when she left from here last night, she went on essentially that ship and took it all the way back to Tromsø, which is where we started biking like over a week ago. So she said that the trip was pretty nice. All right, that's it. I'm signing off. I gotta, I'm washing all my clothes, or I did wash all my clothes, but I gotta finish drying those and packing and going over my photos and all that kind of stuff before I go to bed. So, all right, adios. Auf Wiedersehen. Do widzenia. Ciao.